All right, well, just to let you know that this is my second time doing this problem. First time I made a mistake copying something down, and I worked the proof for, I think, 6 minutes, and it got really long, and it just didn't work out, and I could not see what my mistake was. Came back to look at it, and I had made a mistake on the first step, so I don't know what that means, just you got to be careful, and if they don't work the first time, you just got to keep working on them. All right, so I'm going to start with this side because it's more complex. I do want to get rid of this 2x, but if I use the formula, write this as 2 sine x cosine x, it's a pretty simple thing to work with, and not much I can do with it. Whereas if I can get this to look like 2 sine x cosine x, then I can, so I'm going to work on the left side. So 2 tangent x minus cotangent x over tangent squared x minus, and there it is, I just forgot that squared on that cotangent, and stupid, right? Okay, so I want this to look like sine 2, I want this to become 2 sine x cosine x. That's what I'm really shooting for, so that I can write it like that. So it makes sense to write everything in terms of sines and cosines. 2 sine x over cosine x minus cosine x over sine x over sine squared x over cosine squared x minus cosine squared x over sine squared x. All right, so let's get a common denominator. 2, this is going to multiply by sine over sine, this cosine over cosine, so that's sine squared minus cosine squared x over sine x cosine x. So here I'm going to multiply this by sine squared over sine squared, which is going to give me sine to the 4th of x minus cosine to the 4th of x over sine squared x cosine squared x. All right. So now I'm going to take the top fraction multiplied by the reciprocal of the bottom. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to also try to factor this using the, actually no, I'm not going to factor that one, but I am going to factor this one. Because I know if I factor this, I'm going to get a sine squared minus cosine squared. That should cancel with this one. So hopefully you guys don't mind me doing a couple things on one step here, but so I'm going to take the top fraction, 2. I'm going to leave this one alone. Sine squared x minus cosine squared x over sine x cosine x. Multiplied by the reciprocal of the bottom. So the bottom is going to come up to the top. That's sine squared x cosine squared x. And then I'm going to factor this using the, the formula a squared minus b squared factor, So that's sine squared x minus cosine squared x, and then sine squared x plus cosine squared x. Yeah, this one's working much better. All right, I don't like crossing things out in my proof, but those are going to cancel with those, leaving me with the sine x cosine x at the top. This is going to cancel with this, and this is going to cancel to 1. And I'm pretty much done. Well, I am done. I mean, I can see the 2 sine x cosine x. I don't like canceling things out because I think it makes the proof a little bit messy, so I'm going to just write it down. So 2 sine x cosine x. And that is equal to sine 2x. Proof is done. Okay? You might say, well, man, that's not showing a whole lot of work, but I can see that you cancel. I can see that you cancel, and I can see that you make this equal to 1. So it's okay to do all that in one step if you're okay with it. If you're not, then break it down a couple steps at a couple different steps. That's fine. There's my proof.